Hi guys, welcome. Today we will see how to configure the GPIO pins as input pins. We will read some values from buttons, which would be some basic digital input pin. So we will start from creating a new project, and so go to C directory. Here we already extracted nRF SDK. So we go into the examples. Here we created our my projects folder in the previous tutorials. So first of all, we will go into the peripheral, copy the Blinky, and then go to my projects, paste here, and rename it as a button input tutorial. So go into the folder button input tutorial, and here we have nRF5 2832. So I will go in the PCF10040, go into the blank, open SES folder, and open the main project file. So we don't need this. I'm going to delete this. We don't need this, and also I'm going to delete this code. So guys, so far we have created a new project, and this is a blank project right now, and we want to read the input from buttons. So to read an input from the buttons, let's first see how our buttons are configured if you are using nRF development kit. So let's see how our buttons are configured in the nRF development kit. So you can see in this figure there are 4 buttons on the nRF development kit, and they are configured in this way. Basically they are all connected with the ground pin. So what happens is when you push a button, it's going to give a logic 0 on a respective pin. So for example, if I push the button S1, it's going to give logic 0 on pin 13. And basically to configure the pin, we will configure the input pull-up resistor for these pins, because when this button is pressed, it gives a 0 logic here, and when this button is not pressed, there is no state here, so the pull-up resistor will just pull it to logic 1 or high state. So there is always a noun state on each button. So okay, let's see how we can configure this all. Let me just zoom in a little bit so it's easier for you to see. Okay, so I'm going to define an LED so we can see the state of a button. Define LED, and it's connected on the pin 17. And also I'm going to define a button pin, and it's connected to pin 13 in my case. Okay, so we have defined LED pin and button pin. So now we are going to configure them. So as mentioned in the previous tutorial, so to configure a pin as output pin, first of all we have to include nRF_GPIO.h. Okay, so we will use the function to configure a pin nRF_GPIO CFG output, and here we will mention the pin, which is LED. So this configures the LED pin as output pin. Next we are going to configure the input pin. So to configure an input pin, we are going to use another function from nRF SDK, which is nRF_GPIO_CFG, which is configure and input. And in this function we have to give 2 values. The first value would be the pin number, which is button right now, which is defined as 13. And the second value is basically some constants. So I have already defined these constants, as you can see here. I have created this cheat sheet for you guys. Please see the link in the description below and download it and see if there is something missing in your code. You can just look at the cheat sheet and write your functions as accordingly. So we have to configure as pull up. So I'm just going to paste nRF GPIO pin pull up. This is basically a constant. Now our pin is configured. Configures the button pin as input pin. So next what we are going to do is the LED pin uses the inverse logic. So basically we give it a logic 0 and it turns on, and we give it a logic 1, it turns off. So I'm going to turn it off by giving it a logic 1 value, which is by setting the pin nRF GPIO pin set. And I will mention here LED. So this function turns off the LED by setting it to logic 1. This function turns it off. Now we are going to read the input from the button. If the button is pressed in a pressed state, which is the logic 0, then we will turn on the LED, and if the button is in the release state, which is logic 1, the LED will turn off. So let's write the code for that. If nRF GPIO pin read. Here we are going to read the button, which is this button, and it's equal to 0, which is basically the logic 0. So if it reads the button, what we should do, first of all, let's turn on the LED nRF GPIO pin clear, and here turn on the LED. The next thing we are going to do is we will create a while loop, and we will continuously check the state of the pin. If the button is released, which is the state change from 0 to 1, so we will exit the while loop and turn off the LED. So let's see. While, let's copy this. So it will stay in this loop until the button is released. Stay. So it's going to stay here until the button is released. So once the button is released, we will turn off the LED to show the state has been changed. nRF underscore GPIO underscore pin clear, pin set LED turns off the LED. So guys, our code is complete, and what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to build the code. The shortcut key for building the code is F7, and if you don't want to use a shortcut key, just go here, build, and click on this build your project name. Okay, so the next thing is we will connect with the target. Make sure the J-link or the development kit is connected. Connect, and then I'm going to erase all the board, and then I'm going to download this code into the board. So guys, let's see. I'm going to push the button, and here you can see I have pushed it and it's turned on, and when I release the button the LED is turned off. So if I push it, it turns on, I release it, it turns off. So guys, in this tutorial we have seen how to manually configure the input pins, and hope this would be useful for you guys, and this would be the simple technique for configuring the input pins. And later on we will see there is another way, which is called the board support package, which is the BSP, board support package from Nordic SDK. So we will also use that one in the future tutorial. So make sure you subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon to get the notification for my future videos. So guys, there is another function which can configure multiple pins as input pins. So it's mentioned in the cheat sheet, so you can give it a try. It needs the start range and the ending range. So basically, for example, if you want to configure 4 pins as input pins, so you are going to, and the pin number is 17, 18, 19 and 20. So you have to do is you put here 17, you put here 20, and you configure them as pull up or pull down or no pull up configuration, and it's done. Hit the like button if you like this video, and please comment below if you have any questions, and I will try to answer you as soon as possible. Thank you very much, and see you in the next video.